What is up, fine viewers, and welcome to another Into the Deep. In this video, we will talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 4, Waking the Dragons. Now, I never saw this season as a child, maybe a few episodes as I tried to get into it, but just couldn't. So I stopped watching Yu-Gi-Oh! There. Until, obviously, that would be 2004, so I was pretty young at the time, so let's say 7 years into the future, I think. Sorry, 17 years into the future, and voila. In July of 2021, which was recently, unless you're watching this from the future, and then it must be quite a while ago, that definitely was an eye-opener for me. So I'm like, should I watch seasons 4 and 5? And I debated about it for a while, and I was like, why not? Until I said, I could be missing out on something so good. And plus, with my Yu-Gi-Oh! Card skills, which are not really that great, because anyone, even a child, could probably beat me if the whole entire deck was like completely fluky. It's like I lost fluky amount of times, and I've only won one duel, and it's like, I'm going to do another spin-off video later on, but basically, yeah, this is the fourth video of the 4 out of the 5 videos I've made about Yu-Gi-Oh! That definitely I wanted to talk about. So, it begins with this new evil, right? It's like this new thing. And basically, there's more of these cloaked figures, and of course you don't know who they are until a little bit more in this season. But basically, they're these people that work for the leader of this group, who turns out to be a 10,000-year-old man. I don't know how he would live this long. The logic behind it is really vague, but the villain was really cool, as his name was Darts. I know. I'm like, what? Like, I expected he looked like some sort of maestro, and he had this heterochromia thing with his eyes, which I thought was really cool. So when the voice dub, obviously he sounded like he wanted to establish a board meeting, but basically he is quite a character to look at, because I'm like, I've never seen this guy before. I recognized him as a kid, but I've never knew who he was. And of course, there's this sacred card called the Seal of Orichalcos, which basically entraps a duelist in a game with another duelist who played the card. And not only, if you lose the duel, you lose your soul as well in the process. And it turns out all these souls are being collected to summon the Great Leviathan, which is like this big, gigantic, dragon-like creature that's eventually going to set later on in time when they get enough souls. And of course, I was shocked because the main characters obviously were involved, and it literally was a left and right turn for me. And that's why I really enjoyed this season, because it was so different, but it was kind of like following a bunny who didn't know where he was going, but I went along with it. So I was like, oh, okay. And then, of course, like more and more people eventually got their souls taken away, and then obviously including Yugimoto, which obviously, if anyone has not seen the anime, go watch it, especially the English dub. And obviously, people like Bakura or Odeon or Merrick or Shizu are not in this season. And of course, the voice change in Mai, that really threw me off. As I was expecting like the, oh, come on, Joey, like, get it together, Joey, kind of attitude, right? And obviously I got like this new woman. I'm like, who are you? You're not the Mai I grew up with. The Mai I grew up with was like, oh, hey, honey, how are you? Like, kind of something like that. And then versus like, oh, hi, my name is Mai. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but the person before that really nailed the voice. And she was genuinely expressive, whereas this new voice actress, I mean, she did a decent job, but however, the plus side of it was she sounded more like her age. However, the voice that kind of sounds a bit more complaining is the one that I grew up with, and it was like an awesome dream come true to hear that voice, and of course it's gone now. We're introduced to 3 hunters, or I guess they were called hunters, named Valen, Alistair, and Raphael. And of course those 3 had to dispose of Yugi, Joey, and Seto Kaiba. Turns out those 3, Yugi, Joey, and Seto Kaiba, all have different dragon cards that could help save the world and defeat Darts' influence. And so it succeeded, and obviously Darts mutated with this thing, and then he became good and he snapped out of it eventually. Are all the villains just gonna like snap out and just become good? Because in season 1, you had Pegasus. Very evil at first, little creepy, but he woke up and he was like, oh yeah, I'm a perfectly fine adult man, thank you very much. And then you had Merrick, who was just kind of like, I will send you to the Shadow Realm, and then he becomes like this, oh, Kaiba, go ahead and do it and release your Egyptian god card. And he snapped out of it and he became good. And then there was Noah, who was like, oh, I want to take over your body, Seto, and I want to take over Kaiba Corp. Turns out he was like, oh, what am I doing? And then he became good. And then Darts, which is really hilarious, and he's like, oh, I will summon the great Leviathan. And then eventually, oh wait, actually Yugi doesn't seem like a bad guy. I guess I'm a 10,000-year-old Atlantean. So yeah, apparently there's a theme to it, and it happens again in Season 5 for the Season 5A. Well, I'll talk about that next time. But basically, I really enjoyed the season, and I really want the Seal of Arikaucos card, which gives you like a 500-point boost to all your monsters. However, the loser of it was pretty decent. I definitely enjoyed it. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video, and help me check out the rest of the YuGiOh series for the last video, Season 5. So, glad you enjoyed that. Let's move on. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.